Are you overly bothered by the slightest bit of criticism or a sideways glance? Do you ruminate the scenes in your mind for days? Do you often feel slighted for what you perceive as someone being dismissive towards you? If you do, you're in the right place because today we're going to be talking about rejection sensitive dysphoria. Hello and welcome to Life Divergent. I'm Trina.
And I'm Jason. Now, before we get started, just a quick reminder we are not doctors or licensed medical professionals. The stories, ideas, and experiences shared on the podcast here are for informational purposes only. Please do not use this as a substitute for professional medical advice. Always consult with your own healthcare provider for any health concerns or before making any changes to your wellness routine. Please and thank you.
All right, so what is rejection sensitive dysphoria or RSD? It causes extreme emotional and physical distress, which is triggered by perceived or real criticism, rejection, or failure. It's important to recognize that I said perceived or real. It's characterized by near instantaneous, disproportionate reactions that can feel overwhelming. It doesn't appear in the DSM 5 as a standalone condition, but it is widely recognized by clinicians, especially for people who have things like ADHD, autism, bipolar, and things like that.
So, we have the 10 signs to recognize.
Yep.
First one for us is severe anticipation, which is constantly expecting rejection or disapproval. Like assuming you're getting fired when your boss is simply asking for a quick meeting. Could be anything, but people with RSD, they are absolutely in trouble for something, or the axe. That's it. That's all there is to them. And I get that. You're out there doing your own thing, think you're doing a good job, all of a sudden, for no reason, your boss is like, hey, I need to talk to you. So
I hate that. It's like, just give me a little something like, oh, I need to talk to you about such and such so that I at least know and I'm not sitting there freaking out the whole time. Oh my God, what did I do? What am I in trouble for? If it's just, I need to talk to you about such and such's performance or, something like that. Just give me a little something. Don't just say, I need to talk to you. But it's not just in a professional setting. That can be, at home when somebody sends you a text or something, a significant other or somebody in your life who says, hey, I need to talk to you. And they just leave it at that. And you're like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you when I get home. Can you give me a little idea of what it is? Because now I'm freaking out.
And they're like, nah, I'm going to let you sit with that for the next hour, wondering all of the things I could
Boo.
possibly be talking to you about. Let's just have
Stewing.
you stress for an hour. Yeah.
Yeah,
It could
exactly.
just be, hey, I'd like to talk to you about this thing I want to purchase. That's $2.
Yeah, right. And
Oh,
there
well,
you
that's
were
no big
freaking
deal.
out the whole
Yeah.
time.
So
Okay.
that's severe anticipation, as I'm sure. I can't imagine anyone's not ever felt that way. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, now, there are people who are neurotypical who feel these things as well, or can. But when you pile all this up, it's oftentimes related to people, especially people with ADHD. All right. Number two is physical sensations. So, what happens is that you experience emotions that trigger actual physical pain, like a sudden drop in your stomach, or you feel like you've been punched, like the wind has been knocked out of you, or that you've been wounded, like you feel it here in your chest. It's awful when you feel those feelings because, like it says, you do kind of manifest it physically.
I have not felt that in a while, but I can envision situations where, yeah, being punched in the gut or just this overwhelming like midsection type of pull. I can't really. It's hard to describe. But,
Right.
like I imagine like 20 years ago or something. Like driving down the road, and I see on the other side of the road someone who looks like my significant other in a car that looks like hers, pulling into a neighborhood that is a mutual friend's, a male friend. It's probably fine. It's probably nothing. It's probably a different person, but you can't help but feel that, that fear of like, what's happening.
Yeah. And, anytime I've ever felt this, it's like it pulls me down. It's like it feels like there's so much weight or whatever that you're just like, ugh, I don't know. It's not a good feeling.
No, it really isn't. And let's switch to what is this? People pleasing.
Number 3.
Yes, that's the one. Number 3 is that we have is people pleasing. Going to extreme lengths to accommodate others, to avoid conflicts, criticism, or possibility of being disliked. We have to be well liked by everybody, and not for any egomaniacal reason, really just to avoid any of that negative feedback or feedback that's not perfectly positive.
Right. I used to be like so much, I would go out of my way to do things for people to make them like me. Of course, they never did, but um, because I'm different and whatever. But that's not what we're talking about. But I would just exhaust myself by trying to do things for people to make them like me. I don't do it anymore. But yeah.
Is that because of hard work you put in, or you just stopped caring as you got older?
I realized that, I just need to be me. I don't need to, I'm a nice person, I think, and I do like to do nice things for people, but I just got to a point where I don't really care if people like me, because I guess after years of trying too hard to make people like me when they still didn't, it's like, what am I doing? But that leads us into masking and stuff like that, and that's really not what we're talking about today. But I just did too much, and it exhausted me. And what was my payoff for my reward? Nothing really. So yeah.
Imagine someone like an old friend runs into you and asks you if you want to go to lunch, and you don't really want to go to lunch, but you're like, yeah, sure, we should do that sometime. And then like, great, let's set an appointment down to do that right now. And you're like, totally cool. And then you just spend the next week trying to figure out how to get out of it.
Or hoping that they'll cancel and being so relieved if they do.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Because you didn't want to say, it was nice seeing you again, but not enough to actually hang out with you. Because that would be rude, and they'd be, you'd look bad in their eyes, and there's a whole lot of badness associated with that. So let's just do what we think that they want us to do, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. Moving on to number 4, perfectionism. So with this, you really set an unreasonably high standards for yourself and others to prevent any chance of failure, disappointment, mistakes. But really, more than anything, you hold yourself, even though you might have high standards for others, you don't expect others to be as good as you are at things. Your standards are so high, and you feel like you have to be perfect. And I feel like in my case, I was always more forgiving of other people than I was myself, because I did hold myself to a higher standard. I held other people to high standards, but not as high as myself. So I was more forgiving of them than I was of myself. And I feel like perhaps I should have been as nice to myself as I was to others.
I used to have that standard where I expected nothing but perfection from myself. And I was
Mhm.
able to move away from that. Do you know how?
How?
I became perfect, so I didn't need to aim for
Oh my God.
it. No, that's not
Sure
real.
you did. Oh
All right,
my
so
God.
I do set very high standards for myself. That's absolutely true. But that's for a separate reason. But yes, I am familiar with just anything that's marginally imperfect. That's actually why I stopped speedrunning video games now that I think about it. Because there's no goal. Like I nowadays beat games without getting hit because once you just get through it, that's your goal. You're like, cool, I didn't get hit, mission accomplished. But like speed running things, unless you're like a computer program, you're going to have imperfections. And I could never really see all these successes that I had with improving my times. It was always, oh, cool, I lost like a quarter of a second there, and that's frustrating. Other people like speed running. It's exciting, encouraging. They feel success. All I see is things I didn't do perfectly, and that's very discouraging, disappointing, and frustrating.
Yes.
So instead of showing that to the world and letting them see all the things that I saw wrong with myself, I just moved on to something else. Speaking of moving on to something else,
Yeah. Number 5.
number 5, intense emotional outbursts. Now, when I see this, it reminds me that people are just like this sometimes. If you have a strong emotional outburst, that by itself doesn't mean, oh, hey, RSD.
Right.
You can just become filled with overwhelming rage or sadness, but that is what it is. Waves of anger or rage or deep sadness or sobbing, it can just happen sometimes. And I think that has to do with pretty much all of what we've been saying with trying to be a perfectionist, with people pleasing. It just so much emotion builds up that you don't know what to do with it, with all of this perceived rejection and your sensitive dysphoria.
Yeah. I
I got
used to
stuck on a
sit and
ramble.
cry.
Just
Um,
just because.
I didn't know why. Um, and nobody had to say anything to me, or I would just sit and cry. It was kind of a sad way to live. Just sit and cry. I never did it in front of anybody or anything like that, but
That
yeah.
would be a bit awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, I do it at work sometimes, like in my office, close the door and just cry. In the car, just whatever. But yeah, I don't think I ever really was overcome by sudden waves of anger or rage or anything like that for the most part. But the sadness and the sobbing, yeah, so familiar.
I used to have some of that.
Yeah.
Just anger about this specific thing, actually. Um, Feeling like I was people pleasing, but not actually wanting to do the things that I was trying to do. And it just, remember one day it just got to me. And I think that's when I learned not to just try to be happy with
Yeah.
yourself. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Okay, so number 6 is negative self talk. So that's engaging in deep, unyielding self criticism, feeling worthless or inadequate, even after you experience success. You still don't feel like it was good enough or enough. And my big thing used to be um, that I would be like, God, that was so stupid. I can't believe I just did that. Oh my God, what? Why can't I do that better? What is wrong with you? Kind of thing. I mean, and I didn't say it out loud, of course. It was all in my head, but um and I can remember even from, when I was a little girl, like never feeling like I was enough or um that I was stupid and worthless and that I didn't deserve any attention or anything. So, I mean, I think that it was partially, nurture to go along with the nature. So anyway, yeah.
I get that. Nurture for sure. Because I
Yeah.
had a parent who ingrained some ideas that I didn't care for.
Hopefully not me.
Hopefully. No, you're fine. Nah, listen. So, this whole unyielding self-criticism, I am grateful that I don't do that so much anymore with things that may have just happened. But I know where some of this sort of started, I think. I remember an instance when I was a child and I was part of the Boy Scouts. We had our, what are they called? Like the Pinewood race cars that we
Pinewood
built.
Derby. Pinewood Derby.
Yeah. And so I remember I was going through and I was disappointed that the car that I had built or watched my dad build, one of the two, didn't win. And, just really hard on myself for that because I wanted to win. And I remember him criticizing me for being hard on myself for it. Like, that just made it worse.
Yeah.
None of those, I don't even know what a good answer would have been. Hey, don't worry, champ, we'll get him next time, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I got and this is going to sound like a humble brag or something, but I got one of those. I just won the spelling bee, I remember, at the school. He was upset with me. He's like, it's like, stop crying, you just won the spelling bee. That should be good enough, or something to that effect.
Mm.
Yeah, because he
That was
is
after we split up.
probably, yeah, because anyway, so yeah, that's what compiled on the negative self-talk.
Yeah.
Not even being not good enough is not good enough, I guess. All right. So let's see where that takes us. Number 7 is social withdrawal. We can avoid social interactions, new relationships, or trying new experiences as a way of protecting ourselves from the risk of disapproval. And that, I get that. It's hard to get into a situation where you can be rejected just because, that's hard. It's very discouraging. It's, what's the word? Conditioning.
Yeah.
Every time you do that, if it ends badly or starts badly, why would you want to do it anymore? Now, that's not the right answer, but that's what you end up telling yourself, and you don't want to do it.
Yep.
Some things are worth the risk, but it's hard to
I
see it that
wonder
way.
if that's why I've been, why I have like self-isolated for so many years. Like I just, and I tried to go and do things, be on a certain board or whatever, and it didn't really work out because my RSD just like kicked into high gear, and me feeling like anything I did wasn't good enough and that they were talking about me and just a whole bunch of crap. So I ended up resigning from the board because I felt like it wasn't good for my mental health. So it's just better not to do it. So I thought that it would be good because I had good ideas and stuff like that, but it ended up just crushing me. So I withdrew from that and I was like telling myself, you should have known. You should have known. There's a reason that you only deal with like your kids and your grandkid and why
Yeah,
you don't.
she deals with her kids.
Why I don't, let people in my world because I don't have room for the nonsense. So, yeah, that's me. Social withdrawal.
I'm sorry for your loss.
I don't really consider it a loss, but
I didn't know what to say. I'm bad at these things. I don't know how to like console others, or it's just.
I'm not
And,
looking for consolation, but thank you.
and hey, along this same vein, that's one of the reasons why I don't console people, is because I don't know how to do it, and it's awkward, and people are like, just that whole sort of rejection, or even micro rejections, which we will get to shortly.
Yeah. All right. Number 8, misreading neutral cues. So you can interpret vague or, entirely neutral facial expressions, emails, or comments from others as definite signs of rejection. We'll get into that a little bit more too when we get to our micro rejections, but I am really, I feel like I'm good at reading people. However, if they're like being neutral, I always assume that they're being neutral because they don't like me, or they're thinking bad things about me, or just I don't know. I don't if they're not really positive in their facial expressions when they email me, when they talk to me or anything like that, I take it personally.
It's hard not to,
Yeah.
especially when in a text message conversation, somebody replies with simply the letter K.
I hate that.
On paper, that's just a shorthand way of saying okay, especially if someone's texting and they're trying to be quick. But very easy to look at that as they hate everything about you in that given moment. They obviously next best conclusion.
It's true.
Yeah.
They hate me.
It's kind of like thumbs up, which thumbs up means, hey, great job. But now you get a thumbs up. It's easy to misread that as awesome.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So we had touched on a moment ago negative self-talk. And I was hesitant to comment on that because a lot of my experience comes from this one, which is ruminating on past hurts. Difficulty, when you have difficulty letting go of and repeatedly playing interactions in your mind where you felt rejected or criticized. Now, I don't know about any of you, but that's got to be like 90% of my day. Just let me think about everything that's happened in the past 35 years and just hate myself indefinitely and tell myself how much of a stupid idiot I am and I should never do anything like that ever again. Yeah, all the time. Just all the time.
Don't talk about my son like that. No, but I get what you mean. I mean, the most recent thing was the whole being on the board and things that happened that I couldn't let go of, it ate me up for, I guess, 3 months or so. And finally, after replaying it, of course, everything that happened, I always added the worst possible things to those things without really knowing if those things happened. If the reasoning that I came up with behind certain things, it was true, but I just replayed things in my mind over and over and over. And that's when I was like, I have to get out of this because it was weighing on me so heavily for months. So, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, looks like you have a lot of stuff in your childhood too that you have trouble letting go of. Me too.
Just all the time. Childhood, adolescenthood, teenagehood, adulthood.
All the hoods. Just in your hood. Yeah. All right. So the final sign, number 10. Now don't go away because we have micro rejections to go over after this, but I'm struggling with feedback. So this is a sign where defensiveness or feeling deeply hurt by constructive criticism, sometimes misinterpreting offers of help as a sign that you can't handle your responsibilities. I always hated that so much. I'm a person who loves to work alone, and if I'm told how to do something, I'll do it. And if I don't know how to do something, I'll ask. And if I'm told to do something, I'll ask why so that I understand. So if somebody comes up to me and says, "Oh, do you need help?" Or, "Hey, why don't you do this like this?" I'm not good with that at all.
Yeah, that that absolutely happens. You know, you think everything's fine and everything's good and whatever you're doing, and someone's like, "Oh, do you need help with that?" Like, why do you think I need help with that? What's happening? Why is this wrong? What's going
Yeah,
on?
what I do.
Like,
Yeah.
oh no, I just thought you might need some help. No, you thought that for a reason, bro. What's up?
Yeah, I know. I used to struggle with constructive criticism at work too. It's like, why, how did you miss this, or how did this happen? And I'd be like, I don't know. I mean, if I knew how that happened, I probably wouldn't have done it, you know? And I just, I would kind of close in on myself, like, and beat myself up about being corrected or whatever. I mean, I was always like a perfectionist, but in certain positions, you know, when things weren't so clear or something like that, or I didn't even realize that it was a thing, and for somebody to come back, and I guess a lot of it depended on how I was approached, but I would just beat myself up for days, and here comes that negative self-talk, you know. So all just kind of, all these things, you know, are so, can be so interrelated, which is why it's a thing, you know, if you're struggling with all these things and feeling all these things.
Here's a quick example that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
Perfection is that's great. You know, if we could all be perfect, fantastic. If
Mm-hmm.
you have worked really hard to get to almost that point, that's a heck of a lot of work. You're doing a fantastic job at that thing if you've almost obtained perfection, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
But if someone were to say that was almost perfect, like that somehow that's like you don't you might not see it as pretty close to ideal, right? Work in progress, love it, almost there.
Mm-hmm.
Because great is almost perfect.
Almost perfect.
Yeah, and some people are well intentioned. Ah, that was almost perfect. You know, just get that last little bit. All you hear is that was wrong and you suck. Why didn't you do this perfectly the first time? You should just
Yep.
quit your job. An empty desk would be more productive than you. Things like that.
And then it, you know, you feel it in your body, like we talked
Mhm.
about before. You feel like you've been punched in the stomach, or, you know, you're just like so deflated by
Mhm.
that. It's terrible. All right. Are you ready to give some common painful examples of things that can happen that trigger the RSD?
Oh, the micro rejections?
Yep.
Yeah. Now, the idea of micro rejection is I wouldn't want to imply that the prefix micro is like a diminutive. You shouldn't feel this way. That, you know, that's not a real thing. It's small signs versus big overt actions, such as we'll say the physical dismissal, you know, a subtle rolling of the eyes or sighing or making a face when a neurodivergent person asks for clarification or perhaps they take a bit longer to process information. It's it gives the perception that what you're doing is frustrating to that person, which implies like as if you're doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely.
you ask someone a question, they're like that's they have a problem with something that's happening. It's hard not to take that in a negative way.
Yeah, like you're bothering them or something, or
Sorry, I shouldn't have asked. Didn't
yeah,
mean to upset you.
right. Sorry. Sorry I bothered you. So it becomes a thing that you take on yourself, like you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, this one gets me every time, because it's happened to me a lot. The conversation hijack. So, you're sitting there talking to someone and they're nodding along politely, but they abruptly change the subject once you're done saying what you're saying. And that is, when a neurodivergent person shares enthusiastically and they're going on about their hyperfixation, or they deep dive into a topic and they are so excited about it and they want to have the conversation, and the person just cuts you off or disengages, oh yeah, that's nice, and then like turns and talks to somebody else or changes the subject. It's very disheartening, because you feel like they're being dismissive of you and your feelings and your thoughts.
And little sidetrack, if you're hanging out with someone who's doing that routinely, you can't force people to be a certain way. That's toxic. You got to just disengage from that person, even if it's hard to do. That's the safest thing for you, healthiest thing for you. Can't do things just because they're safe.
Yeah.
All right, so something very awkward is the next item. We have group invisibilizing.
Easy for you to say.
It was not. So conversations that instantly quiet down or awkwardly pause when a neurodivergent person walks into the room or approaches a group.
That's
awkward
horrible.
silence. You feel like you should have just not shown up in the first place. Are they talking about me? Do they think my presence is not appropriate for the conversation? Like something about me being here stopped what was happening, and honestly, I could just be doing one of the things that we just talked about. I forget what the first one was. I'm just assuming the worst of it. Maybe they just happened to get to a lull or a stopping point. I don't know what they were talking about.
Right.
Assuming the worst, I think, was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do that too. I assumed they were talking about me, so they shut up, and then it makes me uncomfortable for the rest of the time. It's like
no one did anything, but it's why it's on the list of micro rejections. It feels like a rejection when everyone stops engaging in the fun they were having when you show up.
Right. All right. So this is another one that gets me, and it kind of is along the same lines of number 2, which was conversation hijack. This is the professional translation. So you're talking and then someone starts speaking over you or jumping in to translate or explain exactly what you just said to others. And it's like they're undermining your authority or signaling that you weren't clear enough. Or what really gets me is sometimes when that happens, it's like everybody thinks, oh, that person said that and not me. So like they get the credit for my idea or whatever. It's just a whole messy thing in my head.
Now, I have this lovely, lovely autistic trait where I don't either recognize or care if I make people socially uncomfortable by calling out things that are not usually socially acceptable. And here's an example as it relates to this. I have seen people do this micro rejection to other people in like a group meeting. With the one person talks over someone else to clarify or to say exactly what they said. I have no problem being like, oh yeah, no, it was clear when John said it. Like that's uncomfortable for everybody. I get that. I don't care because I can't not stand up for someone if that's happening. Right. And if it makes me look bad, that's fine. Justice. Yeah, because I know that they're probably just trying to help. I get that. But I also know how that can make someone else feel. So I got to stand up for the person who's being made to feel a certain way, inadvertently or otherwise. And help it. So.
All right.
Anyway.
That leads us on to number 5.
Yeah. 5th, micro rejection. Being left on red. So it's the sharp drop in the stomach caused by delayed reply, um, being left unread, seeing the digital message opened or unanswered, whatever the platform is, it's the equivalent.
Yeah.
Because it's like they saw what you said, they saw
Mhm.
what you said. It warranted a reply, even if it's just give me a sec to get back to this or something.
Right.
So it's hard to interpret that any other way than I wasn't important enough to say like 3 words to.
Right. I mean, maybe they were on their way to the restroom when they saw that, or maybe they were in a meeting and they just happened to glance at their phone, or, but that's not what comes into your head. It's like, why aren't they responding to me? Am I not important enough?
Mm-hmm. And I've become really cynical and absolute in my old age, where you're giving these perfectly reasonable explanations, and then this little annoying, cynical old man in the back of my mind's like, well, they probably shouldn't have looked if they didn't have time to reply. You know what I mean? It's like, well, that's
Yeah.
not how life works. I know that's not how life works, but
Right.
because like what happens is if you do that, you check a message just because it's right there, and you're like, oh, I don't have time to reply to this. How often would you forget that you got that message and then never answer that person? And then they're like, oh, well, they didn't want to talk to me, so I just won't follow up. And then whatever it was you needed to say doesn't get said until like a month later is like, oh, sorry, I missed this, or I forgot to hit enter or whatever.
Mm.
I really slippery sloped that one. Anyway, we can move on.
I've done that where I thought I sent a message and I didn't hit send.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I'm wondering why I didn't get a reply. And then I go back to look at my phone to make sure that I didn't miss a message notification. And I look and I'm like, oh, I didn't hit send. Okay.
And if you're on a platform that shows when you read someone's message or someone read your message, please don't say, hey, just seeing this like a day later.
Mm.
It's like, one, the system says you saw it. Two, most times when people say, hey, just seeing this, is they're trying to find an explanation or an excuse for not having answered. And they probably didn't answer for a legitimate reason, but it's like,
Yeah.
you don't gotta lie about it. You can just say, I forgot to respond or I got busy. Not like, oh, hey, just seeing this. Is like, no, if you're out there saying, hey, just seeing this, we know you saw it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, why are you lying to me? What's the truth? I mean, and then you start making up all kinds of reasons why they're lying. So, all right, we're up to tone policing. Now this one is for ADHD, people with ADHD. This is horrible, or people with bipolar. I mean, really anyone who's neurodivergent, I think, but being told to calm down or stop being so dramatic or be normal. Just because your emotional intensity or your volume or your body language, like if you're stimming or whatever, if it doesn't match what a neurotypical person thinks that you, in a way that you should be responding, because they're not as expressive as you. But yeah, being told to calm down is the worst. Calm down.
We should
I'm
know
not
that.
calm.
You would think people would know that because that's a joke amongst relationships. You don't tell your partner to calm down. Like that's like a recipe for divorce right there. That doesn't apply just to romantic relationships. And you call it tone policing. I mean, honestly, this is just another form of controlling behavior. If
Yeah.
like stop trying to tell people how to have
How to be.
emotions. Yeah, how to be.
Yeah.
Who I've not see the thing is though, I've not heard these as far as I can remember. I've never heard someone tell me to be normal. It's like I don't even know what that means. What is normal?
Well, the way that I'm being is normal for me.
Yeah.
Maybe
I mean,
you're the abnormal one. Yeah, I know. My mom, like if I got mad about something, she used to get so mad at me for being mad. And I'm like, I'm allowed to feel this way. I'm allowed to be mad. It's not like I'm throwing things around the house or, doing anything other than saying that makes me mad, or just, having a mad face on. But she would always be like, stop being mad. No, I can't do that. If I'm mad, there's a reason for it. But yeah, I think calm down is the worst. I hate that.
Hey, relax. That one as well.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one too. Why don't
Good
you
old relax and calm down.
just... Yeah.
Those are our favorites. But
Yeah.
so we have our 7th and final micro rejection, which is the polite exclusion. When you are the only person in your group who is not invited to a thing. That is... See, the thing is, no one actually did anything to you, but that's extremely painful.
Yeah.
Because then you have the, why wasn't I invited? And no one has an answer. They'll just stand around looking like no one wants to say it.
And sometimes it could be because, you've been invited to things like, let's go get coffee, or do you want to go with us to grab a drink after work or whatever? And a couple of times you said no, so they just stopped asking.
I know that feeling. And I've said, like, that used to happen 20 years ago when I was like dealing with a lot of stuff. Anytime people would ask me, like, go whatever, like have food after work, I'd say I'm not really feeling it. Not every time, but in instances where I'm not feeling it, I'd say that. And I said, but I appreciate asking. Please keep doing so. I love that you are. To try to encourage them to keep, I wouldn't want them to say, oh, he just never goes, so I'm not going to ask.
Yeah.
Please keep asking it. I love it. Appreciate it a lot.
I mean, in some instances, though, because you are different.
I am.
And don't fit in.
I don't.
That can be why you're not asked. So that can really lead to feelings of negative self-worth. Did I say that right?
Negative self-worth. Yeah.
And just really a lot of negative self-talk. And it's not a good feeling.
This might be the hardest one on any of the lists that we've covered so far.
Yeah.
Because it's not just one person. I mean, it might just be one person who just did the inviting, but
yeah, it doesn't feel good to be excluded.
But you do have some of those friends though who are like, oh, hey, we should invite so and so, or hey, why isn't so and so here?
Yeah.
There are always some people who stand up for you. But
sometimes,
yeah.
But then you don't know it, so.
But let's say don't assume it's the group. Like if there's a group of 7 or whatever, right, you're not invited. It's one person. It's not like each person just invited a group of people. It's one person did the inviting. You may have been excluded inadvertently or advertently. I hope advertently is a word. But the other 6 people might not have been comfortable saying something or didn't feel like it was appropriate for them to extend additional invitations. It could be all 6 of them love you and that one person just forgot, or
they assumed that you were asked and you said no.
Yeah, or it's like, yeah, we were getting the group together for coffee, and I know, Jason, how much you cannot stand coffee, so it really felt like a slap in the face to invite you to something that you wouldn't have said yes to anyway. It's like, yeah, well, give me a chance. Maybe it's not about the coffee.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be the one guy. You know what? That's actually a different topic. I always had this joke like if a girl ever invites me up for a cup of coffee and you know what she's going for, I'd be the one guy who's like, no, I don't like coffee. Have a good night. And not have any idea what was going to happen.
Be so unaware.
Yeah. And like 10 minutes later, I'm like, no. Yeah. She was never heard from again.
All right. Anyway, so
she was the one who felt the micro rejection there.
Unless she's neurotypical and it was like, oh, he doesn't like coffee. Okay.
Well, I don't want to think that this is exclusively neurodivergent, because I mean, neurotypical people aren't immune to emotions or anything. So yeah, anyone can feel any sort of way, just, neuroatypical are more inclined to diverge from the neurotypicality. All right, so what's next?
That's about it. But they do say about 70% of people who have ADHD suffer from RSD. So, all right. We have wrapped up, but I want to tell you guys what we're going to be talking about in our next episode because it's going to be fun. Sleep. Is your brain eating itself? Ah. So that's it for today.
Thank you for your attendance and good night or whatever time of day. Good time zone.
Yeah, goodbye. See you in the next one.